Let's batch a bunch of short clips together in one single session because today I am walking you through my entire creation flow from the initial idea hunting all the way to posting. I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of the editors I actually use daily, drop some essential tips for posting to Instagram Reels, and talk about the best way to repurpose TikToks. We will also cover where specific tools like InShot, the native Reels editor, Later, and yes, Vizard fit into this whole process, so let's jump right in. Step 1 is all about idea sourcing and trend research because honestly, this is the entire foundation of your content strategy. When I am browsing Instagram or TikTok, I am not just scrolling for fun, I am actively collecting gems. I swipe through the Reels tab, save clips that catch my eye, save audios I think could work, and like videos that have concepts I can adapt later. You absolutely do not need to copy other creators. Instead, you need to remix those ideas with your own unique voice. I organize those saves into a content hub, sometimes using tools like ClickUp or Airtable, but lately, I have been experimenting with Vizard's content calendar. It is great because that calendar lives right alongside the clips the AI automatically pulls from my long-form videos, which I will explain more about later. The real key is to create a list of potential ideas ahead of filming. Note the trend, the trending audio, and a one-line concept for the video. Then you can expand it into what kind of execution you want, like whether it is a voiceover tip, a transition-heavy outfit change, or a trending lip sync. For me, the batching process gets slowed down whenever I have not figured out the trend and idea pairing before I even start. So before I ever hit record, I have usually got about 10 to 15 reels mapped out, including the hook, the main points, and all the visual bits like props. Step 2 is to outline each reel individually. So once you know the trend and the topic, define the hook and 2 to 4 main beats. Write the hook verbatim so you do not fumble when you are in front of the camera, and keep that outline on your phone or a sticky note right next to the tripod. Also list the physical requirements like your transitions, outfits, props, and where you will move in the space. For example, if I'm doing a 3-outfit transition, I line the outfits up in order so I'm not scrambling around between takes. Little things like keeping a spare phone for demos are absolute lifesavers if you are showing apps or direct messages on screen. Step 3 is filming, and there are really 2 main styles that I use in my own content workflow. The first is the trend or lip sync approach, where I record directly in Reels or TikTok if the sync needs to be pixel perfect, and then import it later. The second style is talking to camera, where I set the phone on a tripod, speak the outline, and create a friendly conversational clip. Personally, I prefer recording the talking take as one long clip because that makes it way easier when I bring it into my editor InShot, which is my go-to. One long clip means less hassle lining up audio and frames, though if you prefer doing multiple short takes, that works too. It is just a different editing rhythm. A pro tip: if you hate talking to the camera, keep your outline literally in front of you and read it, but do not sound robotic. Glance down, glance up, and keep it natural. I usually leave some breathing room for editing, like pauses where I can later cut to a jump cut or add an effect. Lip sync filming is simple. Pick the saved audio in Instagram or TikTok, set the self-timer for 3 or 10 seconds, put on a filter you like, and nail the beats. If a take flops, just delete it and re-record it. Do not be precious about it, and make sure you save the finished clip as a draft in Reels as a backup. The same goes for TikTok clips. When I bring them into Reels, I use a screen record trick, crop off the watermark areas, and reframe to fit the new format. One thing a lot of creators underestimate is that you should really batch your filming by style. Shoot all your talking clips in one session, then all your lip syncs in another, because that momentum is the difference between a chaotic workflow and a productive afternoon. Step 4 is editing, which is where the content actually becomes snackable and engaging for your audience. I usually do the heavy lifting in InShot because I like having granular control over voiceovers, audio mixing, and picture-in-picture examples. Reels editor is where I finish the text, because native text in Instagram tends to perform better in the algorithm and looks cleaner inside the app. And here is where Vizard enters the conversation. If you have a long video like a webinar or podcast, Vizard can automatically find the viral moments and stitch out clips. That feature saves hours of skimming and guesswork, which is a game changer for anyone dealing with long-form content. Back to editing tips. First, trim ruthlessly and cut anything that does not serve the point. For talking videos, I love jump cuts. Just split the clip on the beats where the message changes, then zoom slightly to create visual interest. A canvas zoom of around 15 to 25% is enough to make a subtle pop that keeps attention and hides those edits. For audio, mix your voice and the background music so people can hear you clearly. In InShot, you can extract audio from a screen record and place it precisely, which is super handy when you want to repurpose a sound. Add effects like a small button click or a bleep at transitions to make each section feel really polished. For voiceovers, I prefer recording in InShot with headphones for cleaner sound because the Instagram voiceover tool works, but it is clunkier to edit. Use picture-in-picture to add examples, screenshots, or B-roll on top of your talking clip. It is perfect for tutorials where you want to show an app screen while explaining it, so add a small border or shadow so it does not feel glued on. If you are using the Reels editor, remember it has native features like music selection, volume mix, and text-to-speech for that popular vibe. Text timing is also powerful. Add your key text lines, then drag their in and out points to match the beats of your video. But here is the realistic workflow I have landed on. I do the detailed cut in InShot or a desktop editor, export it, then import it to Reels to finish. Reels gets more reach when text is native, so I always do at least that step inside the app. Now, a quick note about tools. InShot is amazing for fine editing, Reels is essential for native posting, and Later is decent for scheduling. The problem with standalone tools is that they each solve one piece of the puzzle, and you end up bouncing files around constantly. Vizard solves a different problem. It automates the hardest parts by scanning long videos and extracting viral-ready clips. It can even auto-schedule them into a content calendar, so you do not have to export, name, and re-upload 100 files. Compared to doing everything manually, Vizard saves time and keeps your calendar full without losing the creative thread. Step 5 is captions and cover photos. Remember that captions should expand on your hook. The first line is everything. It needs to make people stop scrolling or click to read, so treat the caption like an elevator pitch. Use the outline you wrote earlier to copy-paste the main points, which saves time and keeps your messaging consistent. For covers, do not leave this to chance. Take a screenshot from your video, open the Stories editor, and add bold text in your brand colors. Consistency matters, so use the same fonts and brand colors so your grid looks cohesive to anyone visiting your profile. Tag collaborators, add a location if relevant, and rename the audio if you are one of the first to bring a sound from TikTok to Reels. Finally, scheduling and publishing can be done manually or via tools like Later, where you set a reminder to publish. This is where Vizard's auto-schedule feature really shines, as it drops clips into your content calendar automatically based on your settings. Compared to doing everything by hand, this reduces the friction between content creation and consistent posting. Before you hit publish, run a quick checklist: covers, captions, native text, tags, and ensuring your drafts are saved as a backup. Batching your Reels turns what feels like an endless to-do list into a repeatable, efficient system. Tools like InShot are still part of my pipeline because they give me control, but Vizard is the time saver that automates the heavy lifting. If you want a deeper dive into how I use InShot for jump cuts or a walkthrough of Vizard's calendar flow, drop a comment below and I will film a follow-up. If you like this behind-the-scenes breakdown, give the video a like and save it for when you batch next, because it really helps. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.